multi-agentic AI systems are going to rule over. Even LLM-based agents, which are basically LLMs that are trained to do a specific task, say clicking a button, say giving user an experience, or overtaking something that was tedious before, something that a human doesn't want to do. So things like changing everything on an Excel sheet with a SQL construction, or communicating with very complex data structures like SQL databases with human language interface. So that has been solved. What is the next generation application looks like? And here, when we talk about next generation application, we're talking about completely transforming what was impossible to do before. Trying to give a user experience from end to end, taking an hand-holding experience where you as a user are able drawing a service provider through this database. They're taking you with hand where you don't have to think anymore for yourself, but you're completely retained from the start of the service to the end, and where you feel come out quite happy out of it. So we're talking about, say, for example, something that we built recently with Short AI, something revolutionary in education. We call Education 3.0. Education 1 was the time where you are basically sitting in a classroom. Let's figure out what Education 1.0 and 2.0 were. So when you talk about educations, 1.0, that's basically you sitting in a classroom with 60 other students again, and there is no personal interaction in the teacher, it's not personalized, and there is no feedback experience here. Your Education 2.0 is something which led to the current hit and industry. It's something that I've never found a well, which is just giving you the comfort of studying from home, except that it likes to not change anything or make things worse. You're actually not going out and experience the competition, the classroom, understanding, or actually being able to interact with the teacher at all, where you've now fixed this one directional interface with the student, and you're just looking at the video from your teacher, telling how to build the right. It did give the opportunity, it gave you the opportunity to connect the best teachers of the world. The teachers were famous in their field and able to give you access to their knowledge as they are. But knowledge is not one direction. It is impossible for any field to be taught or any skill to be taught without a feedback, without personally a teacher looking at what you are doing, or you being able to ask the questions to clear your questions or your understandings, or basically the transfer of the mental model that I'm talking about is not really possible in the education point. What is next education? The next education method is what we are trying to build here, and that is only possible with the advent of now having your collegiate existence possible with their labs. So how does that work? As I said, there is a mass level of 1:1 experience that has to be given between a great teacher and a student that actually wants to learn, which is impossible to do right now because a teacher has enough time to be able to teach their classrooms or to teach students one-on-one, or be able to even as far as possible connect with 25 students at a time when they're explaining something, or create that feedback to do where you're personally impacting that thing, which is not possible. How is that possible? Say we were able to understand what makes a master teacher, we completely replicate that even teacher if to an AI teacher, which is basically a parallel simulation of that original teacher, and you give that experience to all the students, every student as you want. Once you have that ability to create a hand-holding teaching, you shall teach of it, which is a great usual teacher. So say, for example, you are learning digital marketing or something else, not found a lot, cyber security, inferior sport, you're a person living in a city, and you want someone, say, who's working on big fintech companies, who teach you the cyber security, and you have the capability for it, but could not have access to it. What gives you the access? If I could actually have that cyber security expert sit with me, teach me for a few days, give me the tips that I need to learn, just guide me to the path, I actually be able to get there. Some self-motivated students definitely go past that. There is Apple open source resources available online. There is YouTube. That all have been covered. But what about the rest of the 98% students that are not being able to be covered, be pushed, be and motivated to get to that level of experienced, skilled person that I want? So that is what education 3.2 is. You want that 1:1 skill transfer, the mental model transfer, and a feedback hub. Okay. Let's start with what makes a master teacher. Let's start with what makes a master teacher. A master teacher is someone who has a deeper understanding of a subject. Let's call that the mental model of that teacher. The mental model is irrespective of what language the person speaks in, irrespective of where the person is, but it basically comes from the experience